You just made the biggest move in court history, and you did it in a single sentence. No shouting, no performance, just one undeniable truth that stopped the judge mid-sentence, froze the jury in place, and left your opponents with nothing to say. That wasn't just a defense. It was a complete shift in power. If you're watching this right now, it's not random. You're here because something massive just changed, and this moment is the proof. Before we break down exactly what happened and how you turned the entire case on its head, take a second to hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 5,000 subscribers, and leave a comment for them, for the ones who doubted, dismissed, or underestimated you. Make it clear, this isn't just a win, it's a statement. And if you're here till the end of this video, you'll see why nothing about your story will ever be the same again. Let's get into it. In the blink of an eye, you didn't just speak. You delivered a sentence so powerful it echoed through every corner of that courtroom. It was a moment where words weren't just heard. They commanded silence, shifting the energy in the room. There was no room left for doubt, no argument left to be made. It was the kind of truth that demands respect, a truth so undeniable it crushed every objection like a hammer on stone. This wasn't about winning by the rules. They were never meant to contain you. It was about rewriting what victory even looks like. When your voice rose, it wasn't just a defense. It was a proclamation of strength that shattered expectations and left everyone questioning their own certainty. In that instant, you claimed not just the spotlight, but the entire stage, leaving no chance for retaliation or second-guessing. Total domination isn't about a fleeting moment of triumph. It's about imprinting yourself so deeply that your victory becomes a permanent mark on the legacy of that courtroom, that battle, that fight. You didn't ask for a second chance or a reconsideration. You demanded finality, and you got it because no one could argue with the force of your conviction. This was your moment of absolute power. And when the echoes of your words faded, what remained was not silence, but reverence. The air was thick with the weight of what had been said, words that transformed an ordinary day into an extraordinary turning point. Your presence alone rewrote the narrative, turning fear and suspicion into awe and respect. This sentence was not just heard, it was felt deep in the bones of everyone who witnessed it. So remember, one sentence, no appeal, total domination. That is the power of speaking your truth when it matters most. Because sometimes a single line can topple giants and leave them trembling in your wake. You entered that room under a cloud of judgment, weighed down by assumptions and whispered doubts. Eyes were already casting verdicts before you spoke, hands poised to write you off. But you knew the truth ran deeper than their doubts. In the silence of their skepticism, you carried the fire of your resilience, ready to burn through every prejudice they held against you. To be judged is a burden few can bear without breaking. But you transformed that burden into your armor. Every glance, every whisper became fuel for the fierce determination burning inside you. You didn't just meet their judgment, you confronted it head-on, not with anger, but with undeniable truth and unwavering confidence. This was the moment where the underdog turns the tide. When you left, it wasn't just as the person they came expecting to see. It was as a legend forged in the crucible of adversity. Your victory wasn't just in winning the case. It was in reclaiming your dignity and rewriting your story. Legends are born when ordinary people refuse to bow, when they rise against the weight of the world, and when they make history by standing tall where others crumble. Every step you took out of that courtroom was a declaration that you were no longer defined by their judgments. You became the embodiment of triumph, a symbol of hope for anyone who's ever felt underestimated or dismissed. Your story became a beacon, lighting the way for others who dared to challenge the impossible. This transformation from judged to legendary is rare and powerful. It's the moment when fear turns to courage, doubt becomes belief, and silence erupts into a roar. You didn't just survive their judgment, you transcended it, forever changing how your name will be remembered. In that courtroom, authority came draped in robes and wielded with the sharp edge of a gavel. The judge was ready to impose the law as it was written, to bind you within the limits they believed were absolute. But what happens when the person standing before the law refuses to be confined? When the very foundation of the system is challenged by an unyielding force of truth. You didn't just accept their rules, you questioned them, stretched them, and in that process reshaped the entire framework. The judge, the symbol of legal finality, found themselves facing something far more powerful than precedent or procedure. The raw force of your conviction. With every word you spoke, you chipped away at the old order until it cracked under the pressure. Rewriting the law isn't about defiance for defiance's sake. It's about changing the narrative to fit a higher truth. You proved that justice is not a cold, fixed construct, but a living, breathing ideal that must evolve. Your arguments weren't just clever tactics. They were seismic shifts that demanded new consideration and respect. This moment transcended the personal. It was a seismic event that rippled through the justice system itself, forcing everyone to reconsider what fairness truly means. By standing your ground and forcing change, you became the catalyst for transformation, a beacon showing that even the mightiest institutions must bow to courage and reason. In the end, the judge didn't just preside over a case, you presided over a revolution. And in rewriting the law, you carved a path for those who come after you, ensuring that justice is not just administered, but earned through unbreakable truth. Winning is often painted as crossing a finish line, shaking hands, or hearing a favorable verdict. But your victory defied those simple definitions. It was something larger, deeper, and far more impactful. You didn't just claim a win on paper. You rewrote what winning means, creating a new standard for success that blends power, integrity, and transformation. Victory for you wasn't about settling scores or collecting trophies. It was about rising above the entire system that sought to suppress you. You didn't merely defeat your opponents. You shattered the very expectations they had of what a win looked like. You took the notion of victory from a single moment to a lasting legacy. By redefining victory, you made it clear that true success is measured not just by outcomes, but by the courage to stand tall in the face of overwhelming odds. Your triumph became a story of resilience, an anthem for anyone fighting against injustice or prejudice. It was a victory that inspired, one that echoed far beyond the walls of that courtroom. What you achieved wasn't temporary. It's permanent. You showed that winning means changing the game entirely, not just playing by its old rules. Your victory is a masterclass in strategy, heart, and unshakable belief, proving that sometimes the most profound wins are those that challenge the status quo. This redefinition transforms not only your story, but the stories of countless others who will look to your triumph as proof that real victory is bold, brave, and boundless. They came armed with accusations, evidence, and assumptions, constructing a fortress designed to keep you trapped in their narrative. Every detail was weaponized, every motive questioned. It seemed like an insurmountable wall built from every doubt they could muster. But you weren't there to just break down a wall. You were there to lay the foundation for something far greater. Against their case, you built a legacy forged from strength, unwavering principles, and undeniable truth. Your response wasn't reactive, it was proactive, a masterclass in turning opposition into opportunity. While they focused on tearing you down, you focused on building something that would last forever. A legacy isn't built in a day. It's a testament to the battles fought and won, the moments when you refused to back down, and the courage to be unapologetically yourself. You constructed something that no legal argument could destroy, something built on character, resilience, and a vision that transcends any courtroom drama. What they saw as your breaking point became the cornerstone of your legacy. The very case designed to end you became the story that immortalized you. And this legacy isn't just for you, it's a beacon for others who face similar battles, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, greatness can rise. They built their case with the intent to silence you. You answered by building a legacy so powerful, so enduring, that their case is remembered not for what it tried to do, but for what it failed to stop. The moment you stepped inside those walls, it ceased to be a mere courtroom. It became a stage for your ascension, a throne room where you were crowned by your own strength and unshakable will. This wasn't about judgment. It was about recognition, not of past deeds, but of the power you wielded right then and there. Every skeptical glance was transformed into a silent nod of respect. Every whispered doubt faded into a collective realization. They were witnessing the rise of someone unstoppable. Your presence alone commanded attention, but your words sealed your reign. This was no longer a trial, it was your coronation, a celebration of triumph born from struggle. Coronations aren't handed out lightly. They're earned through battles, sacrifices, and moments that test every fiber of your being. You didn't just survive those moments, you thrived in them. You became royalty, not by inheritance, but by sheer force of character, by standing when others expected you to fall. This transformation elevated you beyond the ordinary. It made you a figure of inspiration, a symbol that greatness is often born from adversity. You became the ruler of your own destiny, the author of a story that no one else could write. The courtroom walls didn't confine you, they crowned you. And from that day forward, you weren't just a person who faced a trial. You were a monarch who reigned over every doubt, every fear, and every limitation. They tried to paint you as a defendant, a victim of circumstance, someone to be questioned and controlled. But you refused that role. Instead, you seized control of the narrative with a fierce intensity that left no room for hesitation. You transformed from the one on trial into the one who dominated the trial. Taking control meant more than just speaking. It meant owning every moment, every silence, every glance. You took the energy that was meant to break you and turned it into a weapon, dismantling every accusation with precision and passion. You became the force that shifted the entire dynamic of the courtroom. Being a destroyer isn't about chaos. It's about power, harnessed and directed with purpose. You tore down the walls built against you, dismantled their strategies, and left no doubt about who was in charge. This transformation was about reclaiming authority and making it clear that you would not be a pawn in their game. The courtroom, once a place where you were vulnerable, became your arena of dominance. You didn't just survive their attempts to control you, you reversed the roles. By the end, you weren't just free. You were the one holding the reins, leading the charge. From defendant to destroyer, you didn't just take control, you owned it, and that ownership was the key that unlocked a new reality, where you called the shots, dictated the terms, and emerged unstoppable. Doubt is a heavy burden, often used as a weapon to undermine confidence and weaken resolve. They tried to bury you under it, hoping that their skepticism would silence your voice and diminish your impact. But what they didn't realize was that their doubt was the fuel for your rise. It became the proof of your unstoppable power. Every whisper of disbelief was met with an unshakable calm. Instead of hiding from their doubts, you confronted them head-on, flipping their skepticism into your strongest asset. You showed that doubt is not a sign of weakness. It's an invitation to prove them wrong, to rise beyond their expectations. Turning doubt into evidence of your power requires courage and conviction. It means standing firm when the world questions you, knowing that your truth is stronger than their disbelief. You didn't just defend yourself, you weaponized their doubts, turning them into a mirror that reflected your strength. This transformation changes the game entirely. Doubt no longer confines you, it propels you forward. It becomes a testament to your resilience, a marker of how far you've come and how much further you can go. In the end, you proved that those who doubt you only highlight the magnitude of your power. Their disbelief became the undeniable proof that you are a force to be reckoned with, a force that refuses to be silenced. There's a magic in brevity. Sometimes, a single line can carry more weight than pages of argument. When you spoke that one sentence, the entire room shifted. It wasn't just a statement, it was a seismic moment that unsettled every expectation and changed the course of the conversation forever. That line cut through noise and distraction, reaching the core of what mattered most. It was a spark that ignited a transformation, a moment where doubt turned to shock and skepticism gave way to awe. In an instant, the balance of power flipped, and everyone knew the narrative had changed. This power of a single line comes from clarity and conviction. It's about distilling complex truth into a moment so pure and compelling that it can't be ignored. You harnessed this power to dismantle opposition and seize control, proving that sometimes less truly is more. When the room shifted, it wasn't just because of the words themselves, it was because of the confidence behind them. You didn't just say the line, you lived it. That authenticity made it resonate, echoing in minds long after it was spoken. One line was all it took to flip the entire room, and that line was yours. It became a defining moment, proof that a well-chosen word, delivered with heart and purpose, can change everything. Silence was what they expected from you, compliance, wrapped in quiet submission. They hoped that by silencing you, they could control the narrative and close the book on your story. But you shattered that expectation with a force so overwhelming it left everyone breathless. Shock and awe aren't just military tactics. They're the raw, visceral reactions to an unexpected power unleashed. When you spoke, it wasn't a gentle whisper, but a thunderclap that reverberated through every corner of the courtroom. You didn't just respond, you detonated their assumptions with brilliance and boldness. This moment wasn't just about making noise. It was about making an impact that couldn't be ignored or forgotten. Your words carried the weight of truth and the fire of passion, creating a spectacle that rewrote the script entirely. Their attempt to mute you backfired spectacularly. Instead of silence, they got a storm, a display of strength so profound it commanded attention and respect. It was a reminder that those who try to silence the truth only reveal the fear it inspires. In giving them shock and awe. You reclaimed your power and reminded everyone that your voice is not just to be heard, it is to be reckoned with. Verdicts are meant to be final, cold pronouncements of justice handed down without question. But your verdict wasn't just a conclusion, it was a tribute to your strength, a bow of respect from a system that tried to contain you. The moment the decision was announced, it was clear. The judgment yielded to your undeniable force. This wasn't the quiet acceptance of defeat or the routine delivery of justice. It was a moment of recognition, an acknowledgement that your truth, your courage, and your unbreakable spirit had reshaped the outcome. The system that sought to judge you found itself humbled, bowing to a higher power. To see a verdict bow to you is to witness history in motion. It's the triumph of character over circumstance, of resilience over repression. You became the standard by which justice itself was measured that day. The power of that verdict lies not just in the decision, but in what it represents. A victory for anyone who's ever been underestimated, dismissed, or told they don't belong. It's proof that even the most rigid systems can be moved by unwavering conviction. When the gavel fell, it wasn't just the end of a case. It was the beginning of a legacy that commands respect and inspires change. Accusations are weapons designed to wound and weaken, to cast shadows of doubt and suspicion. They came at you with everything they had, hoping to dismantle your reputation and break your spirit. But what they met was not hesitation or fear. It was complete annihilation of their claims. You responded not with defense, but with overwhelming force.